सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। दक्षिणाक्षिमुखे विश्वः मनसि अन्तस्तु तैजसः, आकाशे च हृदि प्राज्ञः त्रिधा देहे व्यवस्थितः। So in deciding to teach the current Mandukya Karika classes, I had mentioned it to you several times that I intend to teach it as a course, kind of like an abbreviated version of if you were to live in an ashram for full scale of 2.5 years, what would that course look like? And so this is an abbreviated version of that. We had actually taught Mandukya Karika with Swami Maheshananji's version a few years ago, and there it was much more of a straightforward text with shloka, the meaning, quite a bit of excellent commentary, then going on to the next one and so on. But when I started to study the much larger 4-volume set of Swami Akhandananda, I came to realize that he's teaching it more like a course, not just a straightforward one shloka after the other. And in some ways, it's epitomized by the Ekajivavada, where he's not progressively going through the whole thing. He's giving it to you right away. He's giving you the right answer right away, and then starting to prove it. This is a very important concept, really. And it's interesting. There's a event in my own life, which was a lesson, somewhat of a painful lesson to me. What happened was that when I came to start my PhD program at UC Berkeley in 1964, January, I had visions of doing PhD and so on. That got squashed later. So in reviewing my background, my advisor, Dr. Wattenberg, said, you're lacking quite a few fundamentals of math and physics. So I suspect that you'd have to take some undergraduate classes. So I wasn't very happy about it, but I said, okay, fine. So I enrolled in I still remember a numerical analysis class as part of the math program. And there were only about 30 people. I thought this should be easy, I know this thing very well. I don't know why I'm supposed to take undergraduate. And on top of that, the funny part was 2/3 of the students were women. And my impression of the women students in India was that they were not at the top of the class. The men were at the top of the class. So I thought this would be easy. My first midterm, I got a C. And I was shocked. And because I thought I'd answered all the questions very well, I was expecting a A. Not only did I not get an A, I got a C. So I approached the math teacher later and I said, I don't understand what happened. He said, well, I asked you to give me the proof of the equation, and you took so many shortcuts to you were anxious to go to the final one that it showed you don't understand the fundamentals of numerical analysis. So that became, I mean, at first I kind of contested him. I said, I think I've done all of this and so on. But finally I realized that this is a great mistake. So what that means is that the final answer, the equation, is actually given to you. You're not, you're, this is a very important thing to see in Vedanta. So it's not as though for a student of Vedanta, Shishya, it is not as though the final answer is kept until the very end. Equations are a final answer. You know, E is equal to mc squared is a final answer. Well, that is given to you right away. That's not the point. It's not as though you know it's equal to E is equal to mc squared. You go around telling everybody. The question is how? Can you explain how energy and mass are equal to each other? You say, well, they're equal. I know it. I know you know it, but how? Are you convinced of it? That I don't know. So this is an important thing in Vedanta. Tattvamasi, you are nothing but Brahman, is the answer. Is the answer. You are already a happy, unconditionally happy person. That's who you are. This is the final answer. This is the equation. You, who you think you are just a limited human being, are really what you're seeking for. This is the final answer. Tattvamasi. The question is, do you know how? So this is what I'm saying, that Swami Akhandananda's approach is a very beautiful one. Ekajiva Vada, very beautiful one. This is what I discovered when I started to study his commentary. There's something very unique, where he says that this Tattvamasi is given from the very beginning. But then the whole idea is exactly how. And the whole thing will be repeated in a deeper, more subtle manner as we go along. And this really is very, very beautiful, something very profound. So, interestingly enough, just some more things about this before we go to the actual text. So, this is where we have we have known that the Vedanta consists of the three steps: Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasana. We know all of that. But the Shravanam itself should take enough time that you have covered all the bases. If we are very anxious to go from the first to the second step, this is like cutting corners like I did in my math exam. And so it doesn't work. You have to be thoroughly. I remember Swami Dayananji's example was very beautiful. He says that, you know how the Indian Rasagulla is made. I'm sure that everybody is aware of Rasagulla. And so, the the sugary liquid is prepared separately, and the gulla, which is called rasa, and the gulla is made separately. From maida, you make small balls, and then you fry it, and then you have a separate batch of those. Now, what you need to do is to make the gulla in the rasa and leave it for a while to absorb. If you don't do it, if you just quickly put it down, take it out, it will not be called rasagulla. It will be called some kind of a semi-gulla. So this is exactly what we need to do. If we are anxious to just take Shravanam and a few things here and there without understanding the various aspects of it, you are not absorbing the essence of. Essence means what? Essence means rasa. This is also a very important thing. We will study this later on. That the Atma that we are studying, that we are aspiring to understand, is raso vai saha. It's rasa. It's not dry. It is ananda swarupa. Whatever ananda you have had in your life, that is nothing compared to the sweetness and the beauty and the satisfaction, all those things combined together of knowing the Atma. And if we don't immerse our mind with a complete understanding of how that is the case, we miss it. It's like taking the rasagulla out very quickly and eating it. It doesn't taste so well. I remember Swami Dayananji's example, very beautiful example. So, what I would say is, in fact, one of the things I was just thinking about that the other day, you should try to get, and there are many such books, and if you want some help from me, I will certainly do that. You should try to get the principal Upanishads and really study all of them. All of them. There are lots of wonderful books available. It doesn't have to be in great detail, but enough detail that you are familiar with it. Because they all contribute towards the completeness of your understanding. Okay. So with that, we're going to take a couple of quotations. One from Shweta Shvatara Upanishad. It's a very beautiful Upanishad also. I know that I think Amit Garg was once writing to me that he discovered the beauty of Shweta Shvatara. And we have never taken it as a class, but you can study it on your own. And then we're going to go into the Bhagavad Gita. Hopefully we'll have enough time because we're going to spend some time. And Bhagavad Gita you all know about, but then to study it in the manner that one should is discovering the beauty of it. So anyway, we'll go into that a little bit. Oh yeah, one other thing. Swami Khandananda was saying that it is not a matter of just studying things, not a getting degree or anything like that. It is convincing your own mind. And that's what Mananam is. That yes, these are the steps. This is why I am not I am not I am not. We can just say I am not. This is why I am not. We need to be I am. And instead we are not only I am not, but we are something else. This is the issue in life. I should just be I am and understand what that means, the enormity, the mahima. Beautiful Sanskrit word, mahima. Mahima means the grandeur of who I am. And this I have to do it myself. And if I don't, then just the study of that is useless. The example I was giving from Swami Khandananda, he says, as he became more understanding of it and became a Mahatma, he used to be a Vidyarthi, just a student. Then he became a Panditaha. Pandit means very scholarly. Shrotriya, Brahmanishta Brahma Shrotriya. He became a Pandit. And he was a Pandit of Bhagavatam. He understood Bhagavatam very well. He was a very popular speaker. But he was still not a Mahatma. A Mahatma means that you become Brahmanishta. You are not only studying, but you can remove the doubts of your own mind and stay within the Atma, the rasa of the Atma, all the time. Sahaja Samadhi, as Swami Dayananda used to say, Sahaja Samadhi means that yatra yatra manojati yati tatra tatra samadhaya. You don't have to do a special samadhi. You are in samadhi all the time with badhita anuvritti. Anything that outside is badhita. So that Mahatma he was not yet, but then he slowly became a Mahatma. And as he did, many of the Panditaha would approach him. He says this. He says, I used to be, he was hovering around Varanasi. He was born in a village close to Varanasi, and he was very familiar with at that time called Banaras. And Varanasi is famous for Panditaha. In fact, the Banaras Hindu University, then you have a lot of, I don't even know all the details, but you have so many schools there that teach Vedanta. And there are people who are scholars who become the head of the department. They teach all the courses. They have hundreds of students, and they can quote verses from Upanishads and Gita left and right. Very scholarly. They would approach Swamiji. And Swamiji says, and will say, Swamiji, I am supposed to be a scholar of Vedanta. But you know what? I'm not happy. What is this? What do I need to do? And that's the situation. So our work has to be to convince ourselves, not to show it to anybody else. And that is really what the process of finding the answers are. Anyway, so with that, another thing very interesting, Swami Dayananji used to say this, is exactly like the final answer. So there is a very famous quotation from Adi Shankara, which says, Ardha shlokena pravakshyami yat kathitam grantha kotibhi brahma satyam jagan mithya jivaha brahma evana aparaha. So we want to keep a diary of all these famous quotes sometimes, and Mahavakyas and other things. This belongs there. Adi Shankara. Ardha shlokena pravakshyami yat kathitam grantha kotibhi brahma satyam jagan mithya jivaha brahma evana aparaha. This is that final answer. This is the Tattvamasi. So he says, Artha shlokena pravakshyami. He says, I will tell you in half a shloka. Ardha shloka means half a shloka. I will tell you in half a shloka what is talked about in thousands of Vedanta books. Hundreds, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of Vedanta books. Kotibhihi, grantha kotibhihi kathitam. I think the word kathitam maybe not be the right one. I was trying one that is talked about, one it is explained. So in half a shloka, I will give you the essence of what is being talked about in hundreds of Vedantic books. Now in saying that, half a shloka is over, so only half a shloka is left. So he is right. Ardha shlokena pravakshyami chat vakathitam grantha kotibhihi. What is the half and what is the essence in the half a verse, half a shloka? Brahma satyam jagan mithya. He says the truth of the whole matter is Brahman, and what appears to be non-Brahman is really nothing but Brahman alone, meaning that it doesn't have a reality of its own. It's borrowed from Brahman. So that's why it means Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. And then comes the Tattvamasi, Jivaha Brahma Evana Aparaha. He says, as a result of this vision, one should say that you and Brahman are one and the same. It's not any different than that. This is the final equation. So now we have to really see how. So here, he has given Swami Akhandananda, I think he's done a great job in bringing in Bhagavad Gita, which I'll do in a few minutes. In saying that this is exactly what the Bhagavad Gita is also saying. Please understand it. And the narrative of the Bhagavad Gita is to really explain how this is the case. And especially this is all brought together very nicely in the 13th chapter, which we will briefly study. But before that, he also says that it's not as though it's only in Bhagavad Gita, in all other texts. This is what is called Tatparya Nishchaya. means the ascertainment of the central aspect. What is the central aspect? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivaha Brahma Eva Natu Apara. This is it. Another one, which is Lakshmi Dhara's shloka in Advaita Makaranda. Remember, we have gone through this a few times. Ahamasmi sadabhami kadachitnaha apriyaha brahmaiva atassiddham satchidananda lakshanam. Same thing is talked about. It's even, I think it's a very beautiful one. Ahamasmi, I am. I am mean unconditionally, not subject to kala desha vastu parichinnatvam. Ahamasmi. Sarabhami. I should see that I'm always a conscious vastu. I am. I know. This is what saying. I know. And this I knowness is the very swarupa of you. It is not a guna. This is what we have to see. Because my knowingness appears as a quality that I have. See, this is why I was saying once I thought about that, I said the word consciousness is not a very good description of you. So when we say consciousness, it comes across as a guna, as a quality. So I am and I know is not a quality. It is the vastu swarupa. You are the very nature of I am and I know. Satyam Jnana. So this is pointed out very beautifully by Lakshmi Dhara in Advaita Makaranda. Ahamasmi sadabhami. Sadabhami means that I'm swarupataha bhami. I know. See this? In fact, again and again. Whether you close your eyes or you open your eyes, you know when you're closing your eyes. My eyes are closed. I know. My eyes are open. I know. There is a word out there. I know. I can block off the word outside. I know. I know. I am. Ahamasmi sadabhami kadachit naham apriyaha. That I never become inimical to myself. That means I am the very source of the Ananda, because we never become inimical to anything which is Ananda. Kadachit naham apriyaha. Brahmaiva aham atassiddham. That means, you see, this is in Shankara, that was the second part of the shloka. Right? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya was the second part. Here in Lakshmi Dhara's is the first part. Ahamasmi sadabhami kadachit naham apriyaha Therefore, he says, Brahma eva aham siddham. This is the proof, he says. Satchidananda Lakshanam. Because the Lakshanam of Brahman is Satchida Lakshanam. The Lakshana of Brahman is Satchidananda. And that I already am. It's proven. This is the final answer. All these are Mahavakyas. And the only thing that we have to do is to convince ourselves this is the case. Because of my ignorance, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to see it. I want to believe it, but I can't. This is the issue. You already are free. You just have to understand that you are free. So this is presented in various different ways, and it will be very beautifully unfolded how this is the case in this course of the Mandukya Karika. And then we'll have, I was just thinking, I don't think we may not ever finish this, which is this is an important thing. Again, it is not a question of studying a text and then saying, okay, I know that text. As you go along, you should be able to see just like eating, as we have said, it's not as though you are satisfied only at the end. As you start eating, you are getting satisfied on the way. So this is a very beautiful thing, that we are not going to withhold the basics of this understanding until the end. It will be done from the very beginning in a more deeper and a more subtle manner, as I said earlier. So here we have talked about, so here in this, for those of you that are following the Swami Akhandananda's Hindi books, so we are looking at pages 259, and actually this is a very long section of the second Karika that we are doing, and it goes up to page 302. Started a little bit earlier. We are now at page number 259, and when we go into the detailed study of Bhagavad Gita, which will take some time, I assure you, because we know Bhagavad Gita, and it will be very nice to review the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in view of this understanding. I think it'll be good for us to do. So that's all given in page 256, 257. Anyway, so that's the references. So here, a verse from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad is given on page 249 of this book. He says, Eko devaha sarvabhuteshu gudhaha sarvavyapi sarvabhuta antaratma karmadhyakshaha sarvabhuta adhivasaha sakshi cheta kevalo nirgunascha. So, this is the other thing that I would request you to do, urge you to do, is that as these references, so the first thing you should do is, if possible, get a book of the various Upanishads all in one compendium. There's so many books available that give you the shloka in the English translation, and sometimes Adi Shankara's Bhashya for at least the first 10 Upanishads. Okay, so it'll be good for you to get that. Then the second thing is that as we give references to the Shastra passages at these various places, you can actually go there and study that a little bit better, more, not better, but more in more detail. Like this one about the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Okay, so this is exactly what Gaudapadacharya ji in his second Karika is saying. Second Karika that we are studying is Dakshina Mukhe Vishwaha Manasi Antastu Taijasaha Akashe cha Hridi Pragya Tridha Dehe Vyavasthitaha. This phenomena that I am in fact situated in the body, behaving as different people. Dakshina Kshe Mukhe Sthitaha. That means that I am a Jagrat Avastha Abhimani. Then as Taijasaha, Swapna Avastha Abhimani. Swapna Avastha Abhimani means that I can see things internally. I am not completely in sync with what's presented to me as Vishayas outside, but I can make my own picture, own ideas, my own mind, memories, likes, dislikes, just like I do in Swapna, in Jagrata Avastha itself. And then also, I can just withdraw myself from all of that and just be myself. That's pragya, all in one place. I am the same one this is the important thing to see, that one which is not just a waker, not just a dreamer, not just a sleeper. I am all three of them, but none of them. I'm separate from it. This is what we have to see. This is the proof. This is a fact. This is an amazing fact. And this is presented in different ways. So one of them is this sloka from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuteshu Gudhaha. Eko Devaha means who? You. Not some Devata. Also the way Ishvara, the Brahman also does it, will come in the Bhagavad Gita hopefully in a few minutes. We'll have time, I think. So anyway, here in the Shvetashvatara it says, Eko Devaha, you, Sarva Bhuteshu Gudhaha. Gudha means that it is hidden. It is hidden. Hidden how? When you are a waker, the waking state is really based on, it's not possible without you. The waking experience can only be if you are there. And we will actually review this a little bit later on. This is one of the definition of what is called mithya. The definition of mithya. What is the definition of mithya? something that cannot be by itself. It has to depend on something else. That vastu, if you want to call it vastu, that thing is called mithya. Mithya means that one which cannot exist by itself. It has to depend on something else. So, sarva bhuteshu gudha means that my experience as a waker, this is, I think, a good way to present that is to say experience. This is a very beautiful thing. We all have experiences of wakership and dreamership, etc. So that wakership doesn't stand by itself. It cannot. It cannot. It's not as though you say, I am, I'm a waker, and that is contained by itself. There is a vastu called waker. And then I am separate from that vastu. That cannot be. It's exactly like saying the ornaments cannot be without gold, golden ornaments. Because suppose you have an ornament, supposing the golden ornament has some consciousness and it becomes very proud. Look at me. I am so beautiful to look at. So I'm a new creation. It's a brand new design. Wow. How intricate I am. And the gold says, you are nothing. So he says, what do you mean by nothing? In fact, you are just a complete blob and I am all these intricate designs. So the gold can say, okay, you get away from me and I'll be separate and you go away. You have your own abhimana, your own identification. Can't do that. Then it realizes, oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't understand that. So this is exactly what it is. Sarva bhuteshu gudha. It is hidden inside. This hidden business is a very important one. This is what we studied in the Kenopanishad. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. Atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritatvam. This is what is called gudha. The Atma is not going to be a separate entity that you are going to see outside. It is in fact in and through everything that you see. You. Eko devaha sarvabhuteshu gudha. Sarvavyapi sarvabhuta antaratma. Antaratma. Antaratma means that this is what I have to see, that I am not visible to me, but I am. In the Kenopanishad, this is explored beautifully, where it says, Anyadev aditat, Anyadev vidita avidat adhi, something like this. So, just a general, at this rate, I don't know if you can get to the Bhagavad Gita one, which I promised you. Maybe I'll start it at least. But just to continue on this, vidita avidita adhi. Vidita adividita adhi. Meaning the Atma is neither known nor unknown. Let's pursue that for a second. See, because our whole orientation in life is to deal with things that I know. I can only deal with things that I can cognize, that I can see, I can touch. This is what is called prapancha. So prapancha means that the five karanas, the instruments of experiencing, have their counterparts of things that I can feel, touch, etc. And the way I lead my life is, I don't deal with things that I don't know. I cannot. My mind cannot comprehend things that it cannot cognize. Naturally. What do you want me to do? I'm only dealing with things that I can see, feel, touch, hear, smell. The whole life is just meant for that. So the Atma is not one of those. Interestingly enough, you can have a conversation if you want to have some serious fun. You can tell somebody, I am studying the Atma. So he says, well, which Atma? What do you mean by Atma? The self. So, is it a thing? Well, it's not a thing. Can you see it? No, you can't see it. Well, can you touch it? Can you substantiate for me? So you'll say, no, I cannot do that. So then you're wasting your time. Because how can you be dealing with things that are not known, not experienceable? So it is vidita avadita. It's not known. That means it is unknown. You are just imagining things about something that doesn't exist. No. It exists, but not visible. What? It exists and it is not visible. How can you say that? This is what we have to see. So at this point, you don't talk to anybody else, you talk to your own mind. Let your own mind be Purvapaksha Siddhantin. You don't have to have a discussion with somebody because they will overwhelm you with their expertise and saying you are stupid. How can you do this, that, or the other? Don't even go there. Deal with your own mind. And let your own mind question it. How can you say that, my dear? I'm trying to understand that. Listen. This is something phenomenal, something unique. It is there but not visible. So this is the meaning of Sarva Bhuteshu Gudha. pratibodha viditam matam. It is there but not. This is a very unique thing. This we will study in more detail, especially when we bring in the Adhyasa Bhashya of we have done that in the Brahma Sutra, but perhaps I will take it up in more detail at some other time. Perhaps as part of this course also, I don't know. We'll have to bring that in. This gives me certain freedom actually, not to actually follow every shloka, but to bring in the teachings from other places. So that is the style that Swami Akhandananda is using, and I will actually utilize it and perhaps even expand on it to make it into a complete course. So this is the thing, is that it's something unique. There's nothing like this. One which is there but not seen. I tell you, this is, now it's 9:21. This is what is presented in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So I won't explain all these other ones. Karma dhyakshaha sarvabhuta adivasaha sakshi cheta kevalo nirgunascha. Leave that aside for the time being. You can study it on your own. But now let's go into the Bhagavad Gita that I had given you some a request to bring it. In the 13th chapter, there is half a verse One second. I'm trying to see where I should begin so that it becomes meaningful to you. So yes, we're going to unfold this one verse from in fact, I think I've changed my mind. I'm going to start from the very beginning of the 13th chapter. Let's just do that. I think that'll be easier. So in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, I'll just chant it the way we've been taught. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram abhidhiyate etat yo vetitam prahu kshetragya iti tadvidaha kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetragshayo gyanam yat tat jnanam matam mama tat kshetram yatcha yadriktam tad vikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrutu me shunu. Okay. So the 13th chapter begins. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Sri Krishna says, Idam Shariram He Kaunteya, He Kuntiputra, Idam Shariram Kshetram iti Abhidhiyate. So this body that you consider to be yourself is considered to be a field. Field meaning something that you can cognize. It is some kind of a thing that you can cognize called kshetram iti abhidhiyate. He is given a definition of kshetra. Kshetra means one which is a place which is amenable for working on, like a field of rice, you have to really plow it, you have to water it, you have to take care of it. So it's kind of like a field. So this body is also like a field. And then he says, Etadyah veti tam prahuhu kshetragya iti tadvidaha. He says, those who know that this is a kshetra are called kshetragya. They know you're not just the body, but you are the knower of the body. So those who are able to make that viveka, that distinction, is somebody who I can consider to be knowledgeable. Etadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetragyaha iti tadvidaha. So those who know call this person kshetragyaha. Then comes the main Vakya, which Swami Akhandananda really explains in great detail. This is the second one. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetre shubharata kshetra kshetragyayoho jnanam yattat jnanam matam mama. So let's at least understand this, and then I'll explain this in more detail. He says, Kshetragyam cha api mam vidhi sarva kshetre shubharata. Hey Bharata. In fact, if you can just pause for a second, the word Bharata is, as you know, there is an attempt in India, spearheaded by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, to rename India as Bharata. And you know what it means. Well, let me just explain quickly. Here, the word Bharata is the name for Arjuna. So, Arjuna has the name Bharata for two reasons. One is that he is the linealogy is one thing, where he was born, the family. But more importantly, the one who is engaged in understanding is called Bharata. Bha means knowledge, light. Light is knowledge. Without light, you cannot see anything. So, no, Bharata can be seen to be either in the ultimate bha, ultimate light is the self, is the Atma. So you can look at it from all the way up to relative bha and absolute bha. But bha means knowledge. Rata means one who is engaged in, one who is occupied by. That is the original name of India, is Bharata. One who, one way or the other, are engaged in the understanding of what is going on, who am I, what is Ishvara, what is Jiva. It's called Bharata. Anyway, here he just addresses Arjuna. So this is, Swami Akhandananda says, is one of the many Mahavakyas in the Gita. How? He says, Kshetragyam cha api mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. So leave aside all of that, just concentrate on Kshetragyam cha api mam viddhi. So, Kshetragyam is Tvampadavachya, is you. So remember going to the first shloka. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramidhi abhidhiyate. Means that what you see your body as a body, who does it, who sees it? You. Kshetragya iti tadvida. It's like a first step. First step is that you should see yourself as being separate from the body. Because if that was not the case, you'll never be able to say, this is my body. It is bad enough that you say this body is me. But at least there is a step away from it which will say this is my body, which creates a separation. So therefore, Jivatma is the Kshetragya. Right? You are, this is the Tvampadavachya, you is the Kshetragya. Kshetragya means the knower of the field, knower of the body. Kshetragyam. Then, cha api mam viddhi. Mam means who? Mam is Tatpadavachya. This Ishvara. This is me. The Bhagavan, the teacher, Sri Krishna. So he says, Kshetragyam cha api mam viddhi. So cha means and. So this and is also an important one. So here's the definition. I'm trying to see the Hindi translation, just a second. They missed it. The Hindi translation has missed it. The word cha. Cha means and, right? Sanskrit for and. So first of all, leave aside the and for a second. So now let's go back to, he says, Kshetragyam api mam vidhi. Leave aside cha for a minute. So he says, mam means me, the Ishvara. He says, you and I are the same. In fact, you are me. Kshetragyam api mam. Vidhi. Vidhi means, may you know this. Also a very important word. It doesn't mean that you do upasana to me. Don't pray to me. You should have prayed to me earlier on, but now is not the time. This is the final equation. You are not my... Swami Chinmayananda had once said this. So I still remember this beautiful episode that Swami Chinmayananda had on this Mam Vidhi. So he was talking about the Ramayana, where the entire Rama's army, consisting of the various Vanaras and other animals, they were all trying to build a bridge to Sri Lanka to rescue Sita. And the Hanuman, one of the most famous Vanaras there, the leader of the Vanaras, were very busy organizing everybody and so on. And so Sri Rama was sitting there and said, Hanuman, come here. She says, sir, I'm very busy. I have a lot of things to do. He says, I know you've got busy things to do, but I just want to just have a word with you. Come and sit down. So he says, okay, all right, what do you want? He says, I want to know, what is our relationship? So Hanuman says, sir, relationship that can wait. Let me just do my work. I'm helping you actually. I'm helping rescue Sita. So why this? He says, no. Just forget about it. How are you and I related? Okay, tell me. So Hanuman closes his eye and he says, well, I am a worker. I'm working very diligently, as you can see. So Rama says, yes, I know. Then he says, sir, I'm very devoted to you. I'm your bhakta. So Rama smiled, said, yes, I know. Anything else? Hanuman said, sir, you and I are the same. Rama said, got it. Go. So here it says, Sarvagyam api mam vidhi. You're not devoted to me, hey Arjuna. You're not a Pandava who's working for the good of the society. You're not obeying my orders. You are me. May you know it with he. Then he brings in the cha. And obviously we have, this is going to be an interesting discussion because I want to bring in the verses of amanitvam, etc. later on, but we'll have to wait until I come back from the retreat to do that. But at least we can do this one thing called cha. This is an important cha. So cha means and. And means what? Very important, this whole connection. He says, Kshetragyam and apimam vidhi. Means and also. So what does and refer to? It refers to kshetra. See, right now he says, Kshetragyam apimam vidhi. Now in the first shloka, he says, Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramidya vidhiyate. What about that? That means it is not you. So the and refers to kshetra also. He says, may you know that both you as the Jivatma as well as your body, the one you take to be a field, is nothing but me alone. So this is what is called ekam advitiyam. It's not as though just the kshetragyam is me, but the kshetra is also me. This is badhika anuvritti. Badhita anuvritti means that really even the outside things that you see are nothing but you alone. This we have to see. This is where my mind rebels and says, no, I can understand that I'm just a conscious being, but there's a world outside. There is no world outside. It is just but an expression of the myself. This is the answer. This is what we have to see. This is called the Advaita Vedanta. So here's the cha is very important. So here, I'll just briefly mention this for now, since I already started all this and so on. So, but we will take this up in more detail in the next class. What I'll briefly mention is that proceeding after this, there will be a series of verses where the kshetra is very clearly defined. This is, I think, in 5 or 6. Very clearly defined. Then the kshetra jnana is not directly answered. Why that is the case will be really taken up, and that is the reason why it says vidita avidita abhyam adhi. It is different from seen, but different from unseen. And that will lead to the very famous 20 qualities called amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, akshantirarjavam, which form the very basis of this book by Swami Dayanandji, The Value of Values. So I want to discuss that a little bit more. I ran into some time. In fact, just I was looking at this is the original version of Value of Values. It's published in 1984. I have one of the original copies of it. But later on, it was republished in this book that you may have seen. And very important book. So we will briefly discuss it, not go into all the details, but the importance of this relative to this unfolding of the of the Sarva Bhuteshu Budhaha, that same person who is really uh, acting as in various ways. So this will be, that connection with the value of values would be shown, and I think you'll find it very useful. So we will pursue that in the subsequent classes, which we will do from next week on. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. And that with Maitri, now the Kshetra means just the field, just the Vishayas, the things that we see. Nothing to do with ultimate. Good. Very happy to see you all. Wonderful. So we'll be away for a while, and I'll see you back when I come back from the retreat. Okay. All the best.